So it's Wednesday, June 26, 24 hours after the developers of The Division 2 pushed title update 21.1. But the game feels buggier than it was before. Let's find out why. Today we're going to talk about the state of the game. The Division 2 is sort of a mess in title update 21.1. Well, I shouldn't say sort of a mess. It's a complete mess right now. The devs just pushed out this update, and with it came a whole bunch more bugs. I think more bugs were introduced than what was actually fixed with the update. I mean, first of all, look at my see-through magazine on my Merciless. Ain't that sweet? So here are the patch notes, and there's actually not a lot of things listed here that might be interesting to you as far as being a critical update. I'm not gonna go through each one of these, no way, because a lot of them are just like so random, but just a couple of these that might be affecting the player base. One of them being the Fairview Power Plant Manhunt, General Anderson mission not being unlocked for a fresh account. So for new players, that was probably affecting you. Apparently they fixed that. I can't confirm because I'm not a new character trying to go through Anderson. Can anybody confirm that that bug has now been resolved for them? So there was some descent issues. You know, we'll just skip through those. Gear, weapons, and talents. So fix the issue with grenades having half damage values in raids, and fix the issue with skill damage or repair skills having half values in raids. As far as gear, weapons, and talents, those are the only two issues they fixed. But don't we have more in this department? World tier removal. This was one of the big changes they made in season 1. There was some pilot missing functionality in the shared space of the White House when players didn't purchase the level 30 boost. So they fixed that. Fixed the issue with specializations not being unlockable after completing the capital mission. So they fixed that. They fixed the issue with the clan vendor selling the Y'all Gear brand set. I'm not sure that was actually a bug, and that's been around forever. Either way, it's no longer a thing. They also fixed the issue with the pilot from the base of operations having no menu options after completing the capital mission. There's a bunch of UI issues they fixed. Hopefully those are helpful for somebody. And then some vanity things. Then other, maybe there's something here interesting. Okay, here's a big one. So they fixed the issue where XP gains for specific activities had significantly decreased compared to before the removal of world tiers. That was a big deal. And it's been several weeks we've had to bear with that glitch. And some of us, yours truly included, ended up going through the entire rewards track without the actual XP values, which means we had to do a lot more work, a lot more grinding to unlock things than we really needed to. Kind of frustrating, but at least they got it fixed in time for the apparel event, which went live yesterday. And that's basically it when it comes to like critical things that needed to be fixed. All this other stuff is just really random. And that tells me how many bugs that they're dealing with. I think it's a large laundry list that the devs are facing right now. This is a big discussion. And if you're wondering what those things are, well, the Division 2 known issues board is not the place to go. It's ghost town in there. The issues that are listed are really dated. I think the last time this was updated was on the 14th, and the statuses haven't been changed since then. And if you go to the Division's Twitter page, ghost town there as well. So they listed the maintenance. They've responded with some very generic statements to people posting their bugs. And otherwise, we have no status on some of these really critical issues. So to figure out what's going on in the game and what bugs are plaguing the community, we're gonna have to take it to the polls. Let's do this. So Immortal Dad 246 over on Twitter says, on PS5, rifles, LMGs, sniper rifles have no sounds. And I can confirm this is also happening on the Xbox. And I have a feeling it's probably game-wide. I gotta say, it's a big issue when a looter shooter has issues with shooting on over half of its weapons. And I've even heard reports of people saying other weapons outside of these are also having issues. Some have said even their Scorpio isn't putting out any sound. Speaking of weapons, I'm having serious consistency issues with the new named weapons, the Thorn and Like Glue. Sometimes the damage is working and sometimes the damage isn't. And I spent over an hour trying to figure out what is causing the inconsistency, and I couldn't put my finger on it. So beware if you're using the Brazen talent, especially the perfect talents, that you might not be getting your damage. You're gonna have to pay attention closely because the only way to know in some cases is to actually track your damage figures on screen, which is very frustrating and difficult to do during the heat of the battle. And that sucks because that's 2 out of 3 weapons they provided for the season. Not a good start, devs. Marco number 7 over on Twitter says PC player in Europe, rifles and LMGs don't make any noise. So he's confirming that's also an issue on PC. You can hear the bullets hitting. He installed everything and re-downloaded it. Errors remain. The game also crashes every few minutes and goes back to the desktop. We don't need season 2. We need season 1 working. I hear you, Marco. It's very frustrating when you keep getting booted from the game and when you can't hear your weapons. Is this a PC only issue? Is anybody else having stability issues? Well, Texas Rocks 8428 does. He says, I can't stay logged in long enough to do anything. Just got booted 3 times trying to get to Danny the vendor. And he's on the PlayStation 5. Oh my gosh. He says, F this game. Back to GTA. Those are words you don't want to hear, devs. I hope you get to this right away because a lot of players are getting frustrated and starting to revert to other games. Sad part is there's no status. I mean, it's been 24 hours. These are major issues. At least we could hear we're working on it. Koki 3166 is saying Ubi servers have been down since last night for me with Bravo 04 error. Rest in peace. So it looks like some people aren't even able to get into the game since the maintenance patch. Let me know if you're one of those players. Takunomi says servers delta every few minutes on Xbox. Wow. Today after the maintenance completed. That's horrible because the Xbox experience tends to be really stable, but not for everybody. Carlos says even on Steam, the Division 2 didn't work. And he gives us a screenshot showing his Bravo error. We hate to see that, right? Tim W says, hi, all my control points reset after I log out. Oh, this one hurts. I've seen others with the same issue. Are you working on this or is it supposed to be like this? It is super frustrating to lose all control points and fast travel network. Totally messes up your quality of life, doesn't it? And the funny thing is, it's not really listed as an issue. They do mention specifically that invaded missions keep going back, but they don't mention anything about control points resetting. And so many players are reporting this. When I go through the feeds, I see it over and over and over. This isn't new. This has been happening since the launch of season 1. So we are way into the season and we see no resolution in sight. I think this needs to be prioritized by the devs. Obviously, we need to hear our sound too. So far, our major issues are way out of control. We need server stability ASAP. We need to hear our weapons and please fix our control points. James says skills are still broken on incursion. So we have a whole game mode where our skills aren't working. Is that what I'm hearing? Now, I haven't been in the incursion in a few weeks. Can somebody confirm they're also having skill issues in the incursion? I'd like to know if this is happening for multiple players and on what platform. And really, honestly, guys, your comments really do help here because the devs aren't listing these issues on their known issues board or aren't keeping us updated on Twitter. Then there are players out there that don't know if they're the only one experiencing this bug. And so they're sitting there resetting their game and trying to get it to work or whatever. And that's all unnecessary. But we can help each other a little bit by listing what our bugs are so we know that we're not alone if we are experiencing that same thing. So your help is appreciated here, honestly. So Soccer Dad says, and do not get me started on the rock and roll, still not fixed. I can confirm that. I was running the rock and roll yesterday and you lose 10 of your 30 rounds just by switching weapons. It's pretty annoying. And this also goes back to the ammo, the additional round reload glitch. So for example, if you have 30 rounds in a mag and you try to chamber one for 31, you can do it sometimes on certain weapons, but when you rotate weapons and come back to that weapon, that round is gone. So you just wasted that time reloading. Not very tactical in our tactical shooter. This issue has been going on for a long time. I don't even remember when this issue started. Was it last season? Von Zorn says projects are still missing for my 4th agent, which is probably his mule, which I made last week, not fixed. So there's an issue that was going around where when you created a new character after season 1 was launched, that the projects don't show up. Now we do have a workaround for this. If you create your character or boost directly to New York, you don't get your projects. But if you create your character and you stay in Washington, DC, what you can now do and level up completely to level 40 without going to New York, then you get your projects. So even if you want to level up in New York, I think the best solution is to start your character in Washington, D.C., boost and stay in D.C., and then head over to New York. But I think what Von Zorn is pointing out, which is possibly a real issue, and I think this is happening to me too on my mule, is that they possibly fixed the project issue, but it's not affecting those who had already created their characters, meaning you might have to delete your character and recreate it to get your projects to show up, which is a major loss of time if that is the case. And this is one of those situations where the devs need to respond, because people are going to start deleting their characters to see if that fixes the issue. And if it doesn't fix the issue, what a waste of time. And if the devs plan on making it so that characters that are already created can receive the fix, then it's just a matter of waiting. But for new players, brand new players entering the game, which we're getting tons every day, many might not have their projects, and that's sort of a big deal because that's a lot of XP, that's a lot of exotic components, free exotic caches. So what's the deal here? So let me hear from you guys. Do you have characters without projects before this recent patch, and was it automatically resolved with title update 21.1? It'd be helpful to know that. Joanne Davies says, trying to purchase season pass on Xbox Series S and it keeps coming up with error. So the devs aren't even able to get money from us, it looks like. Does anybody else having issues purchasing their season pass? Chris Green says, and it still didn't fix the General Anderson manhunt mission. That was listed on these patch notes. Can anybody else confirm whether the General Anderson manhunt mission is fixed? That would help our new players. So Shogun George says, my screen goes to a complete orange hue now. Maybe that's a feature, George. When I load up the game. Also, it doesn't look like it's utilizing the GPU or full power at all. Sounds like a PC player. Is anybody else having this weird orange screen issue? Some people were saying that they were having instability on the frame rates as well. Kevin Hay Cook 8458 says, why can't I upgrade my workbench from blue to purple? It takes my money, but doesn't upgrade. Any fix? Ooh, that's frustrating when it takes your money because it's kind of expensive. And I'm not even sure those costs are supposed to be that high. I'm seeing them over 60,000, over 70,000 to upgrade your bench, depending. Very expensive, especially for new players. But it's no bueno when you upgrade and it doesn't actually upgrade. Anybody else having this issue? So I can say I'm at level 32 on my mule and I've been kind of sitting there waiting for patches to come in and I can't upgrade at all. So I'm not sure if it's a bug or not. And I'm starting to suspect it's actually not a bug. It's now a game feature. So when they merged world tiers with really Warlords of New York or the end game, they had to reconfigure their bench, which is why we're having all these bugs, obviously. And so when you can upgrade your bench has changed. So for me, I'm stuck on superior and I want to get to high end and I couldn't do it at level 30, 31, or 32. I could do it on level 40. Then I deleted that mule and started over to see if I can get it earlier. But many people are reporting as of yesterday, because I asked, that they're not able to do it until level 40, but they are able to do it at level 40. So outside of Kevin's situation, it's a possibility that it's not a bug, that you can't upgrade to high end. They're requiring you to be level 40 to get to high end, which doesn't really feel right because you were able to acquire high-end gear and World Tier 5, which was technically not 40. That was technically 30, 31, really. I think maybe they should give us that high-end bench like around 35, at least. But that's keeping you from crafting or reconfiguring level 30, 31 exotics, which you can get, so you just can't do anything with them. And as well as crafting any high-end or named items. You can't craft mods. All that stuff requires a high-end bench. So they're saying that you can't do any of that until you get to level 40. I'm not sure I agree with that strategy. What do you guys think? TC says on Twitter, after 6 hours of maintenance, we have new bugs on PlayStation 5 The Division 2. Issues affecting crafting station. We can craft god roll items now. Issues affecting sound. Yup. Issues affecting the Lady Death talent. That's the first time I've heard that. Is anybody else having issues with the Lady Death? Let us know. Speaking of the crafting bench, the god rolled crafting bug is back. And they did an emergency patch to fix that, which was really annoying that they did that because we had other bigger, more glaring issues at the time that really still persist. But he says, nice maintenance, laugh out loud. And so I covered this yesterday. You probably saw that video. It's getting a lot of chatter on it. So would love to hear your opinions on this God-rolled bug coming back on our crafting bench. I can't believe it. So this is the pulse of the community. And trust me, I left a lot of comments out. Like if you go through the Twitter posts and comments on videos and stuff like that, the community is in uproar. It's all negative. And justified, right? But it was really frustrating to look at the devs' reply on those comments, and they were so generic. It was sort of sad. They just need to put out a global statement saying, oh, we're sorry, we're gonna fix these things. We know it's plaguing the community. Stay with us, hang with us. It's not really that hard to keep this community glued together with a little bit of communication. I don't know what the deal is here. Why the radio silence? How is that a good strategy right now? It's definitely a company culture thing. I used to think this was a Ubisoft issue, but it's not, because I'm playing other Ubisoft games. I'm playing X Defiant, and it might be the best communication I've seen from devs ever in any video game. Those devs are on point and delivering changes based on community feedback within hours. It's amazing. And so I used to think this was a Ubisoft issue, but now I'm down to thinking it's a massive studio issue. It's a Division 2 issue, and it's been around forever, and it's hurting us. So the state of the game, chaos right now, and the game is leaking players. It's June 26th. In just a few days, we have major titles hitting the market. Summer Game Fest is going to be lit. So we have the first Descendant hitting in early July. We have Season 1 of X Defiant hitting early July. And then we have more games hitting in August, September, October, all the way through the winter. And the devs have heard the feedback on Seasons 2.0. They released their FAQs, but if they don't get their game in gear, there's not gonna be anybody left to play Season 2.0. Everybody's gonna be elsewhere. That aside, please list your bugs. We really need to know what bugs you're experiencing so that we know we're not alone, so that the players know that they're not alone. A lot of people actually love this game and want to see it thrive despite the devs' silence to the community. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Tuxedo Bandido, and this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.